Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Level Up Cleveland. And this week we have the guys from Fatback Mango. Mm-hmm. And we actually have all the guys here from Fatback. There's actually 5 guys. We're going to do 3 now. And in a little while, we're going to bring a couple of other guys in here and finish off the interview with the rest of the guys.
Nice.
But for now, I'll introduce who we got here right now. I have on guitar Tom Zubel.
Yep.
And we have on auxiliary drums and basically the lead vocalist of the band, Chris Coca.
Thanks, sir.
And our drummer is Eric Vogt.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a conversation with these guys for a little while about the band. Really, right? That's it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I want us to actually start off because Tom and I have mutual friends, and he doesn't. I don't think he knows who they are. He might. But I got a lot of questions. Those are the best kind. I wanted to actually just start off asking you some of the questions. And then I'll mention who it is because he'll love to have his name mentioned. So anyways, your first band was a band called Silver Arrows.
Oh, man, you're going way back.
Correct?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about Silver Arrows. Anything you can think of.
Well, I think I was approximately 9 years old or so, or 11 years old, and I would lug my guitar and amp over to my buddy's house 3 doors down, and we would smash out some songs. And our other buddy, who I think named the band, I'm getting the hint that you know that guy. He wanted to be the manager at that age.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like...
To this day, he still sort of is the manager of other projects with which I'm involved.
Yeah, promoter for sure.
Total promoter. He's a mover.
You know
and
who
shaker.
it is.
I do.
And you're another Glenn Schwartz guy, which we've had a couple other Glenn Schwartz guys on here
Yes.
before where he said definitely ask you about your Glenn Schwartz story.
Yes. I'm not sure what you want to know.
Well, I mean, first of all, how you discovered Glenn.
I discovered Glenn in 1997 or 98 because he was on the cover of Scene magazine. Oh. And I said, what is this? I've heard about this guy for my first 27 years of life, and I finally went to check him out. And when I walked in that Thursday night with my friend, I turned to him after 2 minutes and said, this is the most amazing, exciting music I've ever heard in my whole life.
Yeah, it is.
This is the greatest guitar playing. I've been playing guitar since I was 9 years old. It just floored me, and ever since that moment, I would pretty much go every Thursday.
And then you ended up getting to meet Glenn, and
I came pretty close with Glenn. Our band backed him up once, and I've sat in with him at Hooples a few times.
Oh yeah, you got to play with him.
Yeah.
So let me just say that I think the friend we both know is Gary Jester.
Yes.
So what's up, Gary? How you doing? But one thing about you guys is that it's a collection of you. Like you're like the guitar guy, but everybody in this band is exceptional at what they're doing. It's Luke Fitzwater, who was from Camel Butter, that's one of the best keyboard players I see around.
Yeah, I definitely
anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's one of the better guys I see do that. And you're one of the better guitar players that I see around. You come from that whole Parma thing that happened. I don't know what was in the water at Parma at one time, Martini, you. There's a whole bunch, the whole terror thing, the whole thing that came out with the mushroom head thing. That's all Parma stuff, and that's
when we were in junior high and high school in the 80s and late 80s. Everybody was so deep into music. All the guys were so deep into guitar players, drummers, whatever, and they all started bands. And it was really a heavy scene, like you pointed out.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands. Mystic was another one.
Yeah, Mystic, sure.
Yeah, and then but you guys are like not just is anyone else even from Parma? I mean, it's like you guys are from all over the place, right? So
yeah, like I'm originally from Maryland. I grew up there, and I went to school at Youngstown State, and then I graduated there like in '96. And then I had a friend of mine who I moved up here, who now works for the FBI. But I moved up in Cleveland like in '98, and then in Maryland, it was also like a heavy music scene that I was in.
You're the singer of the band, the primary singer of the band. You guys kind of trade vocals. Most bands have another guy that can help out with the vocals, but you're the primary guy. Do you start off as a singer and then eventually do the auxiliary type drum, the bongos and all the stuff that's going on?
I try to figure out what I got to play. Well, actually, I try to figure out what I want to sing first. And then once I figure out how to phrase it and lyrics and all that stuff, then I'll go back and try to figure out what congas to play.
Is that the key to that instrument, though, is to just kind of fill out the silence without
Yeah.
without being overly like
Right.
percussive.
Yeah, you don't want to like when he's doing something. I don't want to be like and doing some
Right.
crazy ass fill. You know, like
How did that go? Okay, I just thank you.
but you have to. Yeah, it's all about it's pocket. Like you got to listen to what else is going on in the song. Like I don't want to riff when Fred's doing his thing or when Luke's doing his thing or when Tom's doing his thing either. But there's one song we do called No No. All I do is play a güiro. That's all, and sing a little part, and he sings most of it. But when we were doing that song doesn't need congas. It doesn't need anything else.
Right.
But that's what you have. That's what I have to like when I listen to all this stuff. That's what we have to. That's what I do. It's my approach. Is like sometimes less is more, man.
What you guys are even doing here, because you guys are so involved in other stuff also, right? Are you guys all involved in other things?
Yeah.
I think so.
Everybody is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when that happens, one of the things I always wonder is what makes you guys decide that this is another thing that you get drawn to. You already have something going on, so you don't necessarily have to do something, but then all of a sudden you find something else, because I know you're in a jazz thing that you've been involved in for a long time.
Right.
And I don't know, let's just talk about that. What are you guys involved in else besides this?
So I do another thing called Saul Glennon. I'd play drums in that, and I sing a little bit on a album he cut, Lazy Summer Evening, like last year. I sing on like 4 songs, but I mostly play drums, and that's kind of like British garage pop. And then I'm in another thing called Tom Adams and the Last Resort. That's more like alt country Johnny Cash type stuff. Like I play drums, but it's literally like a snare, a kick, and a floor tom, and a couple cymbals.
Are these covers or are these originals?
Both?
Oh, okay.
Both. With Saul Glennon, it's mostly originals, and then with Tom Adams, it's mostly originals too. But we'll throw like a cover in here and there.
Right.
So that's kind of the other things that I do. And now over to Eric.
Eric.
Is Eric there?
He's there.
Hello.
I talk a lot.
No. Come on.
It's okay.
I consider myself very lucky that I'm in this band with Tom, and I also play drums in Slap Ensemble, which is the other band.
Right.
I'm with Freddie. I'm in this band as a rhythm section with Fred, and also a blues band called Rockside. So I have a history, and Chris and I have known each other for years through the Cleveland Drum Circle. I played a gig at the old Euclid Tavern, and he showed up, and he saw me and Freddie playing, and he was like, he had this idea in his head, nugget of an idea to like he really wanted to start a funk band. And when he saw me and Freddie playing as a rhythm section, he was like, I got to get those guys.
That's my funk rhythm section right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was looking for a guitarist one day, and he's like, yeah, I think I found a guitarist, man. And he's like, yeah, Tom Zubel. And I'm like, wait. I already played with Tom in another band. But, it's like the universe. The universe is just saying, yes, my son.
Yeah.
This is how it's supposed to go down.
Yeah.
And, I've been playing out for 30-some years. I lived in New York City and Chicago. I've played with literally hundreds of people in all kinds of different bands and situations, different types of music. But then you reach a point where the people you're playing with are not only outstanding musicians, but they're great people, and you're your friends.
Right.
And you look forward to practice because you're hanging out with people that you care about. And then what you create in that practice space is just something, I've walked out of Slap rehearsals or Fatback Mango or Rockside sometimes. I'm also in a punk band, Blue Antidote.
Awesome.
But
You're all over the place. That's so cool,
yeah,
man.
and the guys in I've known the guys in Blue Antidote, Ken Blaze and Louis Burns. I've known those guys like 15. We were all part of the Speak in Tongues collective back in the day. So again, it's people that I have a history with, and I think that shows in the music when you play. That history brings a depth to the music that I think a lot of bands, like you were saying, everybody in this band really shows up and brings something to the table.
For sure.
As individuals. But I would also add to that, because we know each other. Luke was like, I didn't know Luke Chris saw him play at Farnham Manor one night, and he talked to him, and Luke showed up at practice, and it was just like, yeah, there you go.
And that goes with all you guys. I think that's what you're a collection kind of, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Kind of right, really? Like you guys are a collection of that's like, you know what, we can do this and we can be really good at it, you know? That kind of attitude. Because no matter what, to be as good as you guys are, you have to have a certain level of confidence. People might take it as cockiness or something like that sometimes, but that's misconstrued. I don't think that's what it is at all. I always look at it as there has to be a certain level of confidence, or else you wouldn't take yourself to the levels that you guys are taking yourselves to.
True.
And then you recognize that, and then you get together with other guys with the same type of thing, and then this is what comes out of that. And I think this is what people miss about Cleveland. They don't see some of the stuff. There's not enough people getting out there and realizing that.
right.
Look, man, you can go out there and see some like world class type musicians out there who are killing it. And you know, Cleveland seems to get snubbed a lot by a lot of bands. They don't want to come here and play. They don't want to come here and play. Well, fuck them.
I agree.
Yep.
Go out there and see some of these other bands that are better than a lot of the bands that
right.
you're not getting to see, and see what the hell's going on out there.
I think we all came to Fatback Mango because we all do love the funk and the groove of the 70s. And, you know, we don't do that much in Slap. We don't do that in his punk rock band, you know, but
Right.
we all have a love for that. You know, what I really love to do is group improvisation. I can't do that in this band, nor would I choose to, because it's not what this band's built to do. This band is built to funk out.
But that was just what I was going to ask. So this is all like pre-written type stuff that you guys are playing. I mean, you guys you add improvisation to
Yeah,
an already
right.
created structure.
There's not a lot
basically.
of group improvisation, but I mean, if I take a solo, it could go 4 times, it could go 20 times, whatever.
Right.
Just a lot of signaling with you guys as the when that we're going to stop.
Eyes, yeah, sure.
Yeah, we just look and are like, okay, yeah, and then we
Well-
kind of all know when one part ends and another part's going to begin, and we come back and bring it all back.
And
Go ahead, Eric.
I would say we have a secret weapon that most funk bands, not just in Cleveland but anywhere, Frederick Patton.
Yeah, man.
The general.
Yeah.
I call him the general.
He
Cat
just
in a hat.
Fred and I are the older dudes in the band, but he and I came up in the 70s and we were both steeped in old school funk. Thank our families. That was just in the household. Me and Freddie have had this conversation. Like, it was just what was being played. You know, there was Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, Miles Davis, and P-Funk, Parliament, Bootsy, and James Brown, and Curtis May. You know, and Fred and I were like, wow, we kind of had the same musical upbringing, and I think that's why we gel really well as a rhythm section. But Freddie, in particular, he is. He could. You want a master class on funk and funk improvisation, and Fred it's just in his DNA. It's in his being. He just exudes groove and funk and soul. It's just there, and we are so lucky.
That's how it is.
And then sometimes too, like, you know, I just gotta know, I gotta get the hell out of the way. Like, I know when he's gonna bring it, and I'll sit back and I'll play whatever, and it don't matter because he's gonna just bring it, you know?
Yeah, because he has a kind of a percussive style of bass playing. Also, that whole funk leads itself to that percussive thing. So
Yeah.
you actually have percussion.
Right.
So you guys really got to find spaces for each other and that whole thing, right?
When I joined this band and I played with these two guys and Fred the first time, I mean, I could have farted because this rhythm section is so ridiculously groovy and cool.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I've always felt blessed. And then you get another, in essence, percussionist, which is keyboards are percussion also.
Yeah, it's true.
So Luke joins in, and I have the easiest job in this band.
Yeah.
With all due, you know, I'm showing you respect, but yeah, it's just great to play with these guys.
Yeah.
For that reason alone, they all.
I think you guys probably each feel that way
They
about
groove
that.
hard.
Like,
Absolutely.
I'm the.
I mean, with Tom, you know, like when I first got a hold of him and he came and played, like within 5 minutes, I'm like, yeah, this is guy. Just bam. I knew it right off the bat.
That's awesome.
Because like when he started playing, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, yep, this guy's going to fit. It works. And I think when you're in bands, at least for me, like if you're trying somebody out or you're jamming with somebody, you'll know in 5 and 10 minutes if it's going to work or it ain't going to work.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true. All right, we're gonna take a break, man. That was our first segment. We're gonna be losing a couple of you guys, one of you guys, two. I don't know.
losing me.
Yeah, I know he's gonna leave us.
Oysters.
He's got stuff to do today.
This is the anniversary. I'm just going to put this out there. This is the anniversary of the longest recorded live Grateful Dead song, May 21st, 1974, playing in the band, which is one of the greatest group improvisational pieces you will ever hear.
There
They
it
don't
is.
just jack it off. They create and recreate for 38 minutes. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I was
so I
told-
celebrate that annually with a small gathering, and we eat oysters.
Excellent, man.
Very nice.
We'll have fun.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. Jerry Garcia.
Woo! Yes.
Grateful to that. All right, guys, we're going to cut it right there. All
right.
We'll be back.
Thanks a lot, man.
1, 2, 3. Underneath illuminated waves, suitors and fine ladies co-mingling in this way. But since you've got nowhere to go to, you better keep shaking it, babe. 'Cause when we create, there's no debate. Said we're gonna let it play. 'Cause when we create, there's no debate, no. Said we're gonna let it play. Yes, we do.
And we are back. And we have some new faces with us. The guys from Fatback Mango have switched out. The bread on the sandwich has changed.
Yes.
We first have a really familiar face with us from Camel Butter on episode 4, season 1. Luke Fitzwater.
Hey,
Looking much better without a box around his head, hopefully.
nice.
And of course Luke plays keyboards and whatever. He plays anything that's got keys
That's true.
attached to it. And playing bass and also filling in on vocals sometimes on some songs. Fred Patton. In the first part of the interview, we was referred to as the General, I do believe.
Or Cat in the Hat, too.
The cat in the hat.
What's this general?
Yeah, they were saying the band you were like basically one of the most valuable guys in the whole funk thing. You are like the master of funk. Is
true.
basically what they were
This is
saying.
true.
I
I second that.
Well, they were basically the vibe I was getting was you have a whole band of 5 outstanding musicians, but they're all very interested in the whole funk thing for sure. But somehow, like, you are the guy that kind of like sets the foundation for the whole thing, and then allows all these guys to kind of like create what you guys create.
Fred's the heart and soul.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Fred? Come on, man, say it. No.
Acting cool.
He's very modest.
I've watched a lot of video of you guys. I will say you are entertaining as hell to watch up there funking out, man.
Thank you.
You can just tell once that vibe gets into your bones, man, it's over with, man.
That's what I was saying too. Like when he starts ready to do his thing, I get the hell out of the way, man.
Yeah,
that's the best.
See, man, these guys, that's awesome. And another thing, I was saying before was like, it's like I said, for sure, you guys are definitely all top. I would say at this point, Luke, you got to be considered one of the top key guys in the area, period. I mean, there can't be many guys.
Hell yeah.
I mean, seriously, you really are. You are amazing keyboard.
I got to step outside.
I mean, dude, I'm watching you though do some shit, and I'm like, man, this guy is incredible, man. Like,
uncanny what he comes up with.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Me and Fred were just talking about it outside. I'm just lucky to be around dudes like this that have so much more time than me, and
well, don't you think that you all feel that way about each other, right? That's what we were saying. Like to have that, have that a level of talent around you, and you guys are doing something too, where kind of like Camel Butter, where you guys were saying you guys can kind of like get into a one groove and one thing, and then you guys can kind of improvise and stuff, because you guys all have the ability to do that. For one, you're a master of that whole improvisation thing. I've seen you do it a number of times, and you're amazing. You guys, the whole thing you guys do is super cool. Now, what are you guys gonna do with this thing? What do you do with something like this? What
take over the world?
Yeah,
world domination.
Get it funkier.
Is that but I mean, I'm talking about are you guys recording things? Are you gonna put out some stuff, or we're gonna start seeing like Fatback Mango stuff?
Yeah, we got a single out. We released in the beginning of April, Psychedelic. It's on Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music.
All that stuff. Yeah, we released that in April.
We're going to probably hopefully release another song by the end of this month. Because at our practice spot, which is Tom's, his business. Zubol Books. We're in the warehouse, in the basement.
Oh, excellent.
It's a great
spot. We got a sound man now. His name's Justin, and he records out us every rehearsal. So what we're going to do is start recording more stuff, and then I'll go back over his place, do the vocals, and maybe add a percussion thing separate. I don't know. But usually just the vocals, and then we'll release that. The plan is I want to release something every month.
And that you guys are interesting as hell to watch. You're fun to watch. And that funk thing, the whole cool thing about funk is that musicians love it because it can be so intricate and be so mind-blowing that way, and people love it because you can dance to funk.
Exactly.
So Fred, do you have recording stuff at your house? Do you when they says that you'll show up with ideas and stuff, do you ever just show up with stuff recorded already and say, hey, I got this little thing, this little ditty, or do you just have ideas in your head that you've already messed with on bass and you're like, hey, what about this? Is that or how do you do it usually when you bring it to the table?
If I bring, a lot of times I have songs in my head that I've done years ago that I've never done anything with.
Oh, so you're bringing out some of the old killer stuff.
I don't consider myself that so-called bass player that y'all saying that I am.
You wrote Doo-Doo when you were a teenager, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Spirit.
That was, we was 16 and, we was in the garage being silly. And in the band I was in, it was two bass players, the sorry one and the really good one.
I can't believe that, but I'll take your word for it.
They didn't want to get rid of me because I was the first bass player and I was cool.
That's sometimes good enough, man.
Yeah, well, we were best friends. It was kind of hard to do that. But the other bass player, he was great. And we all got together, we got together really well. But in this backyard one day in the garage, we was talking about, people just being themselves. Be you. Don't be a follower, be the leader. Be you.
Is that how you've lived your life, just not worrying about what other people think type thing, or you're just kind of
I worry about everything.
Fred says that all the time. If we're hashing out something in practice, if I'm messing with a part that doesn't sound right, Fred says it all the time. Be you.
Yeah,
be you.
Yep.
That'll get it through, right? That'll get it to where you want it to be.
So we came up with these crazy lines, and the name of the song is The Spirit of Doo-Doo.
The Spirit of Doo-Doo?
Yes.
Sir.
And It sounds crazy when you say it in front of somebody and they look at you like, what's wrong with you? You about to talk about some doo-doo? But the line is, it ain't what your mother do. It ain't what your father do. It's not what your sister do or your brother do. You got to do the things you do when you're doing the do. Whoa, I believe.
That's awesome.
And I showed them this little groove we used to do, and they built around it, and we do it now.
Yeah.
When you guys are switching off like vocals, is it who writes the song basically, who sings it, or do you guys like? Because I noticed some songs you sing, some songs I've seen you sing.
I wouldn't call what I do singing.
Man, doesn't matter. That's cool, man. I love that. I love that. It's
I created that voice. You hear how I talk, and you see how I sound when I'm singing.
yeah, but it's effective. It's cool. I mean, that's a unique vocals what it becomes. It doesn't have to be necessarily a singing type thing all the time for it to be effective. A lot of blues that you hear, a lot of those blues voices, hell, they're like one step away from death metal sometimes.
Or
They growl so much. You know what I mean? So yeah, man.
Yep. Yes, sir. Preaching.
It sounds like screaming at people, and they let me.
That's fun though. You like doing it though? Is it fun? I
like doing it because I like the audience participation part of it.
Oh yeah.
And if they're grooving, we're gonna keep grooving. It just get better.
There's nothing like that. And when they were injecting the funk into all the different other genres in the 70s and 80s, when you were hearing funk all over the place, it was all over the place. And man, them songs went from rock songs to that whole thing that exploded because of that feel that you get from that whole vibe and that whole groove.
Yeah,
and
That's
you guys,
what happened to me.
Is that what happened?
I was at. I wasn't a big P-Funk fan. I didn't know nothing about P-Funk at the time, but my drummer did, and he took me to the concert.
Amazing.
They played one song, and I fell apart.
Couldn't believe it. Like,
oh no, I knew that this is what I should be trying to do. Learn how to do this.
really? So where did you go? Where did you play? Where are some of the places you were able? Do you remember? Do you remember?
Most fun one?
Yeah, like what was some of the cool stuff you did?
I got away with.
Yeah,
Yeah, give us a fun tour story.
yeah, man.
What I got away with. Sunset. We did this song, and the people was vibing to it, and they sitting there looking at me like what's wrong? And I couldn't take it no longer. At the end of the night, Sunseals is on one leg. So getting him back up a bunch of stairs and getting him come back for encore ain't going to happen.
Right.
So he said, the band can do another song. And, okay, we did this song, and they still staring at me like what's wrong? I said, y'all about to be in trouble. So I walked over to this girl while I'm playing, asked her to get up and come up on stage with me. I said, leaned over to her and told her to dance. Her boyfriend looked at me like he wanted to kill me. So I snatched him up too.
Smart.
Very smart. Oh yeah. Then that got good to me. I snatched up almost 30 people to come up on that stage and dance. Nice. And got away with it.
So you had the whole place dancing on stage with you guys while you're jamming, man.
Yeah, well, see, he went upstairs. He told us we can do what we want. And I thought I was going to get fired for that one. But that was a good story,
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Fatback Mango for a while was kind of just practicing and playing live and didn't really have any social media presence or anything really that you could listen to.
Thanks, Luke. No, but he kind of, we need to get this. He was like, hey, we need to get, I'm like, I agree.
Yeah, I
Let's
think it
get
goes a
going.
long way nowadays to just like get a little bit of consistent branding in front of people and a little bit of like a recognizable name and a little bit of something they could click on Spotify and say, this is kind of cool. I'd like to go see a live show,
When I'm listening to you guys play and I see you do some of your solo stuff, the one question I always come up with in my head is, how many things do you have that are like in a bank in your brain that you kind of constantly kind of go to and then play off of that?
Yeah.
Versus, because some of the things you do, even when you're improvising, are some incredible runs. Like they're incredible runs. They're like way from they start down here. They're like and I'm like, man, he just hit like 80 notes. How does he know which 80 notes to hit there, and how do you do that? So I'm curious, like, how does that work? I mean, the one time, not to cut you off, but there was one fucking time I'm watching you, and you're doing this thing over here, and you go, ding. Do you know what I'm talking about? Right?
Not specifically, but
you're doing this, and then you go, ding. And I'm like, this one note, somewhere in his brain, he was like, oh, shit. I need that one over there, you know? And like, so how do you guys, especially you when you're doing it, how do you do it? What are you doing there?
That's a really great question because it is so subjective from player to player. A lot of guys have really great licks that they rehearse, and they build off of that, but you can... Not that you can always hear it, and not that it's derivative, and not that that's a bad thing or anything. I like don't have the discipline to like run through a licks a million times in a night and try and like really get it under my fingers, unless that's like a really integral part of the song, right? So like, I really, you know, I'm not like the most learned owl or whatever when it comes to theory. You know, I'm really not. I'm 100% self-taught. But
you know what he has?
What do I got, Fred?
What he has is the ability to hear what everybody else is playing and create over that.
Yeah, listening is open ears is the biggest part.
And
absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, like, but I guess what I'm saying is you understand the keys exact. You must understand like the keys and everything and how that keyboard. Like you must be able to visualize. Okay, we're in this key, and I have all these notes in this key available to me, and but you also know. Like, even the patterns that you're using while you're playing, you're not just doing like a straight, you're like, so I want to know, like, that's what I'm saying. Where do you pull that from? How do you do that?
You know, like, I mean, it sounds like a cliche. All the great musicians, they say, you know, you're a vessel. You don't really come up with any of it. It sounds kind of lame, but it's like, I mean, if you have open ears and you listen to great musicians all day, and you listen to your favorite shit, the shit that inspires you, the shit that like really gets you fucking juicing for music, you know, and you have, again, open ears while you're listening and then open ears while you're playing, and people are being complimentary and supplementary. It's like that stuff's gonna come out of you if you're going about it, you know, righteously, whatever you want to say. So it's like, again, I don't really practice a ton of licks, but I guess I'm thinking about stuff in terms of scale. I guess if I'm trying to get like fundamental about what I'm doing, again, I don't have crazy licks, man. I guess I'm just good at like faking it. I don't know what to say.
I mean, you got take it till you make it, right? That's what we got. King wing it.
No, he can't fake the funk. His nose will grow.
That's right, man.
Can't fake the funk.
And that's what I like. How like Luke got. How I reached out to Luke.
Yeah.
There was. Farnar Manor. I think it's under different. Someone else owns it, but it was out in Richfield, and these like kind of hippie people owned it, and it was kind of like commune. People stayed there, came and go, whatever.
It's a hippie
and
house.
I looked on Facebook, and I'm like, they have an open jam night, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I went the first time, and these guys didn't know really what to make of me because they were younger guys, and I'm not young, but I brought my congas, and they're like, oh, okay. And then after the first couple of songs, they're like, I went out to my car to like, I forgot my phone or something, and they're like, you're not going anywhere, are you? I'm like, no, I'm staying. And then it was just like jam the whole night. And the second night, he was there. And so I'm playing congas and I'm listening, and I'm like, I don't know how old he is, but cats that age aren't like Bernie Worrell shit.
We were playing Sissy Strut, actually, is the song, and they were playing it at the time. And that's what he kind of hit me up about and was like, yo, you were playing Sissy Strut. He just like randomly messaged me on Facebook. And,
I just like,
I'm like not a super social cat. I was like, fuck, who is this guy? Oh my God. And like, you know, and he was really cool. And he's like, yeah, come to meet me in this basement or whatever and come fucking jam with us. With a bunch of dudes you don't know.
Right, yeah. No
and
pressure.
I show up. It's like a little gated, like industrial parking lot. And I meet Tom, the guitar player who was in here, but I didn't know him at the time. I just walk up. I'm like, oh, is this the right spot? And he's like, yeah, fucking follow me down into the basement. And it's like, okay, well, I hope my organs don't get stolen. But like, you know, we
you got all your stuff with you when this is happening?
Yeah, I had a keyboard or whatever. But, you know, the first time, they sent me a couple songs. They sent me The Ghetto by Donny Hathaway, great song. No problem with that. They sent me What's Out of Space by Billy Preston.
Yeah,
which
I
is,
said of that.
There's a lot going on, clavinet and organ. Bop, 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 bop. It's a really busy song with like a really integral keyboard part that I'm like, these guys are going to expect me to show up and be fucking Billy Preston, and I'm not. And so like I was nervous. Yeah, like I said, I'm not, I don't think not to be I don't think I'm like, the fucking bee's knees. So like I was like, man, like I'm outclassed here and I'm nervous. But yeah, they were all just open dudes that were like, come back and keep fucking. It's like they stimulated some growth, So
And when I heard of that, in that open mic, I was like, wow. I was like, because we were like, we either need a keyboard player or a sax.
Right.
Like we need something else to kind of like add to what we got. And I heard him play. I was like, dang, man, he was like the first. Like I was going to open mics and stuff, and I'd hear some people, and I'm like, no, for whatever reason, like I just didn't vibe or it didn't feel right.
Right.
And I heard him play, and I was like, yes, I contacted someone there. I'm like, hey, who was that young cat who was playing keyboards last night? Oh, his name's Luke Fitzwater. And I just like, bam, hey man, looking for a keyboard player. You should come jam with us if you want. Cool, blah blah blah. Yeah, and then like in 5 minutes, it was 10 minutes. So like I was saying before, I was like, yeah.
This is the first band I was ever in. We're still. I mean, how many like musicians can say that the first band they were ever in is like
Still,
a band they're still in that they love being in?
So how many years was it?
It's been about 4, because I started like putting this all together. It was like I think it was like 2000, like beginning of 2018. I approached Eric first and said, hey, dude, I want to do this like funk band. You know any musicians? I know some people, but I'd go to open mics and like, And then when he was talking about earlier, like I went and saw him play, and I saw him. I didn't know who he was. I saw him put on the cat in the hat and the sunglasses, and he was like, and when anything blues, I was like, Eric, who the fuck is that guy? He's like, that's our bass. That's my bass player for Jared. I'm like, well, guess what? That motherfucker's gonna be in our band. Boom. And then we got Tom, and then we got Luke. So it all just kind of like came together, but it took a while to put together because I was like, I wanted to be with musicians where I wouldn't have to tell them how to play. Like I just give an idea and everybody runs with it and does their thing, and they're all cognitive of everybody else's space. And that's what we have, man.
So what's the future like now? What are you guys going to be playing out? Gigs this summer?
So we got Winchester Tavern, July 8th. I think it's a Friday. We're a double bill. I don't think are we a double bill on that, Luke? We're playing with somebody else, right?
Yeah, with the Lauber Brothers, I believe. They're a fantastic band. They recently are or are about to open up for the Average White Band.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
That's fun.
Yeah, Lauber Brothers are sick. They're Youngstown cats. They're very cool.
So I've got a private thing for us, like Matchworks building in Mentor. They're having like a 5-year anniversary. We're playing. That's August 21st. And then I just got confirmation for Collision Bend Brewery September 30th.
Awesome.
That's out of your way.
Yeah. So that will be, and like I said, it's just so much stuff up in the air. But those 4 things or 5 things are like what we've got solid right now. But I'm looking.
Yeah, recordings, music, video.
Just trying to put more stuff and like every month put something out.
And what are they looking up to
Fatback Mango on Instagram, Fatback Mango on Facebook,
Fatback Mango on YouTube, fatbackmango.com.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and fatbackmango.com.
Yeah,
on the World Wide Web.
You got anything to say, Fred, before we head out of here?
Come on, Fred, give the people something.
You look
Fred.
like you're ready to say something. I keep
something.
seeing you about to talk. I'm like, he's about to say something.
Well, I could say this real quick.
All right.
Have you seen the black bird doing her thing?
Yes.
That's an incoming Fatback Mango tune.
Yeah,
one of my favorites.
Our originals. Yeah, that's the song when we had a private gig. We were doing a Forest City Brewery last August, and that's a song we're like, okay, now we don't want to do that. And Luke's like, no, we are doing it.
Yeah, I vetoed it. I thought it was. I still think it's probably our
and,
best song.
and Luke, we're like,
It's the
and
way
Luke's like, I don't care what any of y'all
did.
say. He's like, that's our best song. We're fucking playing it. Beep, boop, beep, boop.
Oh, then you just started playing it to force
Yeah, it was all. We're like, all
It's
right,
catchy.
force the hand.
Oh
Beautiful.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's a great tune. I believe it's about
It's just
a lady
sight
of the
to see
night.
the black. No. The truth is, it's a story about a friend of mine.
Okay,
That
sorry.
when she's in her party state of mind, remind me of a cartoon blackbird crow,
The Crow.
or any female crow.
Oh.
But it's cartoon.
I got you.
And she's super well, big old crow, female.
A big old lady.
Yeah, fully big old thingies. And this picture, a big old cartoon crow partying, dance. She can really dance, but it looks like a cartoon crow to me. So I came up with the line, have you ever seen the blackbird doing her thing?
So that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about the crow looking.
It's about the blackbird doing her thing.
And this is why we're never going to run out of material.
Never.
Ever.
Yeah. We're not exactly political,
just a side.
We're
Well,
right
that's
about,
okay.
we're right about birds.
Nobody cares anymore. All right, guys, that's it for us. If you see Fatback Mangoes playing out at a place near you or whatever's going on, definitely check these guys out.
Yep.
They are the real deal.
Check
All
it
right,
on
guys.
Facebook. We'll update stuff, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we will too on,
Yes,
on our
thank you.
website too. We'll always have your stuff up there from now on.
Sweet.
Once you're on, you're like in.
Nice.
All right, guys,
In.
we're out. We'll
Thanks.
see you later.
That'll be fine.